Good Tuesday afternoon, guys. This is the Brian Gould Show Sports Edition here on 444 Radio. Got a full crew with us today. Got Murdoch in studio.
Hey, yo.
Got good old Evan. He's trying to figure stuff out.
How we doing? Better?
Are we all trying to figure stuff out?
There we go. And, of course, the mastermind behind the mayhem, Jay.
Good morning. Afternoon, whatever it is.
Hello, Emma Watson.
It's Tuesday.
It is.
It is Tuesday.
The 20th.
All day.
Took a 3-day weekend, guys. So let's jump right into it. Some college football. The winners and losers from the weekend.
There's only one loser.
There's one big one, yeah. Houston defeats Cincinnati 40-16. They remained undefeated. Ward throws for one touchdown, 326 yards in the air. Had an awesome game. These guys, all they got to do is win out to be in that playoff picture. Baylor wins over Rice 38-10. No surprises there. Number 1 Alabama and 19 Ole Miss, Mississippi. That was a shootout. That was one heck of a game. Bama, of course, barely wins that 48-43. Was it the game you guys thought it would be?
I thought it was. It was exactly. I remember I said they. What did it come out? A 3-point game?
5.
5-point game? I think I called Ole Miss winning by 3. I said it was going to be a 3-point game, but I said I really thought Ole Miss was going to win that.
I thought Ole Miss had that game. I really did.
So did they.
Yeah, and you know who else had seen that movie before was
2 weeks
Florida
earlier.
State. That's it. No, that's the reality. Is that
It's not the reality. That's not even close.
people? You do what you do. A first half team. Look at last night, Chicago Bears. The Bears.
The Bears.
You had the Bears.
I mean, look at the Redskins.
Philadelphia. Wow.
You
Or the
had
Dolphins.
You had the
What?
only. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. The first half, Chicago was beating Houston in the first half of last week in week 1. And then they give it up in the second half to lose that game to Houston. And last night, Chicago looks good for a minute. In the second half, they lay an egg. Ole Miss owned FSU in the first half of the FSU
Right.
game. Hands down. They were walking the dog
The biggest
on FSU.
difference. The biggest difference was Winston on the sidelines. When he was up there screaming and yelling, sounding like he was an extra person on the team, went in and did the halftime thing for them and just absolutely berated them, and then came back out and was nonstop. They literally pointed that out before that happening. He was a giant reason why Florida State won that. Florida State is not the team they were and got dismantled.
Agreed. And we will speak about FSU.
Ole Miss, Alabama. Alabama's a good team. Ole Miss, all right. Ole Miss was just as good. I think it might even be a better team. And it just kept, there was that last play at the end. Stuff does happen.
Mm-hmm.
To say that they're not, I don't think it's the same thing. Those are two different games, two
There's
different
one common
situations.
denominator, and all of that is
It's a loss.
Is Ole Miss first half walking the dog on everybody that they're playing.
Right.
And the second half, maybe I'm a degenerate, and that's what I see it. That's the play that I see. That's the angle that I see. Is if I'm going to make a play this weekend, I'm taking Ole Miss in the first half.
Right.
That's what 66% of their games have been them being dominant in the first half, and then I don't want to say laying down, but they give it up.
Yeah,
Alabama does come back in the
They're an
fourth.
awesome
They
team.
get
They're
better
number
as
one.
they go better.
Sure.
And there was one or two bad plays for Ole Miss that cost them the game, and you can't.
So,
You
Sean
can't
Alexander
do those,
or Julio Jones go in the at halftime for Alabama and get them rah-rahed up? Come on,
you can't have one or two of those plays and think you're still going to win against Alabama.
Especially
Unfortunately, they did.
An Alabama team.
But I can see that loss with Alabama. That's a loss. I think there was a different thing going on at the Florida State game. I think it's apples and oranges. I really do. I think if Winston's not at that first game, I think Alabama steamrolls them.
You were high on Ole Miss last week, and
Yeah.
you had a reason to be. They have a great team.
Yep.
Kelly is a madman, and he's going to be a great player for years to come.
Right.
It was too much Alabama on the back end
Right,
of it.
and they are the best team in the country right now.
Looking at those tendencies, you mentioned Baylor and Rice. I don't know if you guys watched that game. I watched that game.
Yeah.
What Baylor is also known for this year, anyway, the first couple of weeks in, is that they play really bad for the first half, and
Right.
then the second half they open it up and they figure things out. Baylor was laying 34 points in that game. They were losing that game.
Mm-hmm.
And at halftime, they don't even have anything close to it being covered.
Right.
So what do you do based on the last 2 games that you've watched with your eyes and you've seen them losing at halftime or not covering the number, and they end up covering at the end of the second half? You make that play.
Yep.
And it was typical again. So there's my angle at it.
With Ole Miss, actually Ole Miss is I think number 24 in the country today. I think 23, 24, and they are 1-2. And you know what? If they were, I think I would rather see them at 25, but I can see them being number 25. They lost 2 unbelievably ridiculous games, one of which against the best team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, FSU was number 3 in the country. I can give up the Alabama. I don't. That Florida State game just is not.
Watching,
they should have won that game. There's no 2 ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Watching that FSU game this weekend when Jackson did his thing and Louisville, walked the dog on FSU. Mm-hmm. That was the worst beating that FSU had mm-hmm. until they scored that back end touchdown. Is that what left the bad taste in your mouth for the loss for Mississippi? Because
I think that's exactly who they are.
Yeah.
I think they were raised way higher than their abilities were because they had a superstar who was friends with people on the sidelines. Mm-hmm. And one person like that, ask Tebow how much of a difference that makes. You have a person like that pumping them up at that point, at that time, at that exact second. It can make that's the difference. That's what happens.
I think FSU was overvalued,
right?
And they're showing you that they're not.
With.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you have a rookie quarterback. You have all new pieces.
He
all over the
fantastic.
field.
I'm not saying he didn't.
And he played okay this last weekend, but okay isn't going to get you
That's right.
a national championship.
And what even upsets me more is you got Ole Miss now number 23, I think, with a 1-2.
Yeah.
Right. Florida is still 19.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. Have we played anybody? No. But did we shut somebody out last week and thump them? We did. Now,
did they set a record and only allow 53 total yards? I think
that's absolutely right too. Set records. Number 1 defense in the country. Nobody's even arguing that at this point. But then you've got Oklahoma at 25 at 1-2, who hasn't done jack nor shit all year. And you're telling me that you've got and then
I can see a lot of Ole Miss quality in
mm-hmm.
that Oklahoma deal where they fight valiantly and they come back. Oklahoma fought back against
they're
that
great
Michigan,
losers. They are fantastic
in that,
losers.
Ohio State game, which I had.
They are a solid mid team if you're not playing anybody SEC, the Big 10 or the Big 12.
Ole Miss sitting there at 1-2. Who they played is tough. Now Oklahoma sitting there 1-2. Who they played.
And here's something else. This is the other thing that really upset me. Miami beating Appalachia State goes from 25 to what did they go to? Like
16?
15. What are you talking about?
App State has okay.
I picked App State to win, matter of fact. Now, did they play a good game to play App State? Yeah, absolutely. But Appalachia State's been playing some great football, but let's be realistic, okay? Even though I took them to win, it's still App State. I just thought you were that bad. I didn't think they were that good. I thought you were that bad. And then to catapult you from 25th to 15.
Well, Miami had played some middle-of-the-road opponents. Not bad, but,
Not great.
Not great. They went and played App State and jumped on them early. I played Miami this weekend. I was watching that game. They jumped on them quick. It was a Felix Trinidad fight. It was real fast, and App State couldn't do anything about it. App State has a good program, too, this year. I mean, they're playing this weekend. They're all playing this weekend, but that's another play to take. But just for football, they're
the team that you're scared of every time you play.
That's right.
You expect to win, but that's not.
They're not the doormat anymore. That's not the team that you bust in.
Texas.
No, it isn't. And they used to bust that team in. Florida used to bust in Marshall, and give them a couple $1,000,000 and come down and not, kick their teeth around for 60 minutes. And now that team is different. App State is no longer that. Your dad's App State. They're getting better.
They can take you. You're talking every 5 games. There's going to be a squeaker.
We all had spoke, and Brian, I want to hear your opinion on this. We all spoke about programs that were suspect coming into this last week. Georgia had won some games that they should have won by 3 or 4 touchdowns, and they just squeaked by. They just squeaked by. Clemson squeaking by Iowa. Iowa lost this weekend against a pretty good NDSU team, but still they lost.
They lost.
And Texas. Yeah. I'm not going to say I told you so, but damn, I told you so. I didn't believe They're a great team, but they're not. That's not
They're
Vince
just not
Young.
there
That's
yet.
not Vince Young and Jordan Shipley out there.
Right.
It's a different team.
Well, they're definitely rebuilding. So
but-
you got to put the foundation first. It's going to happen.
To go unranked to number 10, there's the value. You asked about Florida, and you
Right.
asked my opinion about the Florida going from 25 to 16, or pardon me, Miami going from 25 to 16. They've won 3 straight games. I can have more appreciation for them being ranked 16 and moving 7 spots
Right.
than Texas being unranked and beating a Notre Dame team that got whipped
Yeah.
this weekend by a Michigan State team that had beat Presbyterian in week
Right.
1. So, it does come out. Whatever doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse.
Right.
So in a few weeks
See, that's
from
why, and actually, Jay and I were talking about how once again, Florida, and, I don't know why. Florida always gets disrespected by everybody. No matter what, Florida can't win unless they're the actual national champions. And then even when they are the national champions, they're like, oh, it's an undefeated year. That's the first thing they always tell us. It wasn't a perfect year every time. And I'm like, no matter what happens, we win, we go down. We win, we don't go anywhere. We win, we barely go up. And no matter what happens, no matter how it turns out, we get nothing. But Jay and I were talking about this. We're like, you know what? It doesn't matter because Florida is lucky to be in the spot where we are right now. We just keep winning games. It does not matter where we're ranked. We could not even be in the top 25 because by the time we get to the SEC championship game, it doesn't matter
It will
anymore.
take care of itself.
It'll
You're right.
take care of itself.
It will take
but
care of
it's still
itself.
aggravating to watch the
Okay.
other.
I can
it drives me
appreciate
nuts.
how you can see the volatility from the from Florida, from the Gators. What you get is some closure this weekend, or you get some resolution.
Right.
You're playing Tennessee. There's no
Right.
more whining about we
And
should be
they're
ranked.
still ranked ridiculously high.
Yeah, the Gator fan, I love you because you love your team and you think you should be number 1, and the rest of the country thinks you should be number 30, and I applaud you for that. This weekend, you get to put a whole lot of hush mouth on the table.
That's true.
If your defense is that good,
without their starting quarterback.
yep,
I know.
and there you go. So it's man, we played so well for 3 weeks,
But
and
here's
now
the thing,
we have a
though.
chance.
I don't think Tennessee's anything. I don't think they're anywhere near as good as people are saying there. I've watched those games. I've seen them play. I've seen them get lucky.
You're going to find out
You
how
know?
good they are.
We are going. No. They are going to find out.
Yeah.
They're going to find out.
Yeah, the rubber meets the road.
By the way, Evan, just so you know,
Yeah.
they just readjusted some stat lines because the NFL does that.
Right.
They took some passing yards away from Carr.
How much?
Oh no.
It impacted my score by 18 points.
What I win by? I lost by 2 points.
You lost by like 11 now instead of 29.
Well, with
Does that adjust properly here?
it will.
Oh,
It will.
damn.
Well, of course, the big shocker, Louisville
Cheater.
crushing Florida State, 63-20.
Was that a shocker? Well,
By that much.
Yeah, to trust them by that much. I
Yes,
agree. Okay.
yeah.
All right. We knew. We talked about this, right? We were all on the same page. We said Louisville was going to win that game, and I said by like 10 plus, right?
I was
So-
in a Publix on Saturday before that game, and a fellow's wearing an FSU shirt. So I bring up, hey man, you got the game this weekend. Yeah, man. Who do you think's going to win that game? I mean, what do you think? Oh, we're going to win that game by 10 points. And I told him that not only was he, not going to win that game by 10 points, but that he was an underdog, and he all but called me and my mother a liar because the nation, football, Jim Jones, the football watcher, doesn't understand what the spread is. Ev,
Yeah.
we talked about, if you want to see where the real value is,
That's
you want
right.
to see what the real, go and look at the points. And there's a few games that we'll talk about later today that will show and exploit that.
Right.
Ole Miss being one of them.
That's right.
They're a 12-point favorite. And, well, anyway. But the FSU deal, if you were to tell somebody that FSU was not a favorite or what the spread was before that game, you're going to hear 12, 13, 11, 10 because it's Florida State, right?
Right.
I mean, it's Florida State because you have history. Because you won 26 rings with the Yankees doesn't mean you're going to win that series. By the way, I told you so. And they got swept. But they got swept, and you can't just look at history. History isn't going to hold your football for you and
Right.
throw it for you. You have to have the people that are out there to do that. And that FSU does not have that squad. And the people that played Louisville, smart guys.
Yeah.
Man, that kid looks.
Boy,
he looks serious.
Louisville does have that squad.
They do.
And right now, he's the front runner for the Heisman, I'm sure. You know what? 124 on the ground, 3 for 5, and 3 for 240 or 250, something like that. How about that? Yeah, that's pretty nice, huh?
Lamar Jackson, yeah.
Yeah.
Coming into that game, he had 13 touchdowns.
I know.
You
And
know,
it's only the third week.
I watched that game with my son, the second game, and he said, Dad, does this guy he's going to play in the NFL. And I was like, you think? You think he's jumping over people? It's Syracuse, but it's still athleticism.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you're playing. And I thought, it may come
His
down a little bit.
accuracy, too. It doesn't matter who you're playing when the accuracy's like that. Yes, a good team might be able to get in front of and knock the ball down, but the ball is still where the ball is.
That offense is going to have to take care of that for the team this year. That Louisville defense is not the Houston defense that they need it to be. But maybe that comes in baby
But
steps.
that's a hell of a game. Houston, Arizona?
Yeah.
How about that game?
Yeah.
What do you think, boys? We sit around, drink some beers and make some brats and watch that one. God, hopefully that happens.
Ohio State takes out Big 12 Thunder God Oklahoma 45-24 in a not really a real competitive
Very
game.
unimpressive game on both sides. Oklahoma, we knew, garbage. And then Ohio State and for a while they were right in it. So
For
once
the
again,
first quarter, that was it. It was 14-7.
Once again, Ohio State, sorry, way overranked.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I think that, not way overranked. The first few weeks, they played Tulsa at home.
But they're number 2 in the country right now?
Yes.
They gave it to Oklahoma, and they showed that they gave it to. They went on the road. It's not just that they played a pretty good team. Oklahoma isn't the preseason number that we thought they were. That the country thought it was going to be.
They're 1-2.
Oh, so is Ole Miss. There's a couple teams out there. So Florida State. I mean,
Florida State is they're 2-1.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they've.
By the way, Ole Miss is a better team than Florida State. They're ranked. Their win losses don't show it, but they are definitely better.
I think maybe this year they are.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, I'm going to side with you there. They're more. They have more plays.
Who do you think bounces back quicker, Ole Miss or Florida State?
Florida State's laying 6 this weekend at USF, and I would brace. I'm going to go to the game. That you have to go to a game like that. Take your family and go check that out. It's a real young team.
Watch it be a squeaker. It's going to be a squeaker.
Laying
you watch.
6. USF's feeling good. They've won, and they should have some consideration to be ranked.
Yeah.
They went to Syracuse, gave it to Syracuse after being down 17-0.
That's true.
Came back in that game and gave that to them. Louisville was beating Syracuse by 14 until the fourth quarter when they finally caved in, and the points, on the board don't show what the game really was. I was laying 17 in that game with you, Evan, and we felt good. Actually, we spoke to each other during that game. I was like, man, there's 21 points in the first 3.5 minutes, closed, right to the window. And here comes Syracuse back. Louisville sputters a little bit, but USF is just. I heard on a national radio show someone speak about USF this week being the darling and the real quiet sleeper of the nation.
That's awesome. I love USF.
If you don't know about USF this year, he says you're missing out because that team should be ranked. That team is a really, really good team. They're putting some points up. Their defense looks good.
When USF beats Florida State this week,
oh man,
that is going to go up there to Florida State, West Virginia. South Florida, West Virginia.
Yeah, you
game.
remember that?
It's going to. I watched that game. Did you see that game?
Pat White.
Did you see that game? It's got to be 9 years ago, 8 years ago.
It was Pat White and
Pat White.
Yeah.
Brian, did you see that? Did you ever see that game?
No, I did not.
It was one of the most entertaining games I've ever watched in my life. I was actually sitting at the bar alone because I forget why, but I just happened to be at the bar alone, sitting there, and I was supposed to go somewhere, and I watched the entire game. And you know me, I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't mind Florida State. I mean, South Florida, but and West Virginia, I could care less, right? But watching that game, it was the most entertaining football game I think I've ever watched. It was. I mean, of course, there were some exceptions, but only if national championships for Florida, right? But that's for a different reason. Mm-hmm. This was for just strictly football. Watching somebody who was supposed to be so outgunned. And it was just such a great game, and tons of points too. So it was exciting.
Sure.
Oh my God, what a great game!
The kid that ran
that
the ball
happens again when they beat Florida State this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be pandemonium, and it will be, you put that up on the board as one of the best wins that they're ever going to have.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, and it's in state. West Virginia, lost to us in that game. That was epic, by the way. That was awesome.
That was epic. That was good word.
That was something. This weekend coming up, if they can beat FSU, and it's laying 6 at the number 6. You and I, sitting at that bar this afternoon, and you ask the guy, hey Frank, wearing the Knowles hat, what do you think they're going to win by? Oh, it's 41-17 this weekend. Man, do I have a side bet for you, buddy? Come on over.
You are insane, dude.
Be careful of
I will
that.
take that all day long.
Laying 6.
I think they're in trouble.
Michigan holds off Colorado 45-28, and I say hold off because that first quarter, being down 21-7 after the first, as a Michigan fan, I was beading sweat there for a little while. Then we turned it back around and pulled that game away. Jabril Peppers had an awesome game.
With Michigan, as I said, I haven't been too impressed with Michigan. And I'm going to say this, and we're going to forget I ever said this once I said it. When you're down 21-7 in the first quarter, and you should be winning, it is very easy to just let the quicksand take you.
Give up.
It really is. And then to come back and put up 17 in the next quarter, keep your composure, get into the locker room now feeling good and doing much better. That's a sign. That's a sign of a good team.
That's
I'm not
resilient.
saying that Michigan's a good team, but if you're looking to see, do I have a good team? These are some things you need for that, and this just happens to be one thing that has to be.
Special teams has been our thing.
Yeah.
Blocking punts, blocking kicks, and then the second half our defense showed
All
up,
that
only
wins
giving up
games,
7
too.
points.
That
Mr.
all wins
Gould,
games.
last week, coming into this game, more tendencies. Michigan has covered the big number every week this year.
So far.
They have covered the spread every week this year. When we left that show last week and we gave a little fist bump, it was about Michigan and covering the number again this week. If a champ is a champ, I'm not saying they're champions, but they're covering the number. And if they continue to do so, you have to ride that horse until it breaks a leg.
Now, here's my question: did you feel Michigan should have jumped Ohio State for number 2?
They didn't.
But do you think they should have?
No.
You don't think so? I'm telling you, that game gets played right now. Ohio State gets destroyed.
If Michigan had played a foe that was formidable enough, as like if they went on the road to Michigan State, or if they went on the road to Wisconsin,
Right.
that's fair enough.
Yeah,
Wisconsin and an Oklahoma. If they went on the road to Madison, then I put them in front of Ohio State. Ohio State went on the road to Oklahoma. That's a bigger deal than staying home and beating a Colorado team that has a lot of offense.
Yeah.
I agree, with the exception of getting so far behind right off the bat and not freaking out. That's tight. That's strong-minded football.
Jim wasn't
That's
letting
what
that
it
get
is.
out of the
Yeah.
way.
No, Harbaugh was not
Yeah.
going to let him give up on that game.
I mean, I think either way, just watching the whole year or just taking those 3 games and watching how they played, I'm sorry, Michigan destroys Ohio State.
and then
At least at this point in football.
and then just to see, to see Tom out there for that game, that was kind of cool. But again, being a Michigan fan, we knew this was going to be our first real test. And yeah, it's only Colorado, but history has shown
Well, it's only Colorado because you won. If they beat you, we'd be like, oh my God, that Colorado.
Colorado has one of the best defenses in their conference and one of the best offenses in their conference. Because it's Colorado, you don't think of them being a prolific program at the moment or recently.
They have no stars,
but also,
they're a solid team.
Just
Solid
wait.
teams will beat stars all day
You'll-
long.
you'll
Well, yeah,
remember.
but it comes down to coaching because their head coach coached with Harbaugh at San Fran, and it showed the very first 3 screenplays that were ran, and then right after that, deep ball touchdown. Then 3 screenplays, deep ball touchdown, and I'm thinking, okay, Harbaugh, you you rip off the last 4 pages of your playbook and leave it with that guy across the field because that's what it looked like. The guy knew what he was doing.
Well, when somebody knows you personally, knows your tendencies, everything is out the window at that point.
And at that
Everything.
point, it's not Michigan versus Colorado.
No,
it's
it's
head
him
coach.
versus you.
Yes,
because he knows what you're going to do.
Exactly.
Now it's
Right.
a boxing. Now it's a boxing. It's a fight as opposed to just a game.
Yep. And
So.
that finally opened up in the second half. Clemson finally shows up and scores some points. They win 59-0 over South
That
Carolina.
doesn't count.
I'll tell you what, the 59 points do not count.
It doesn't, but you know what?
The donut does.
Considering how close they've been in their last 2 games,
Right.
You know,
Are you aware that they shaved down the minutes of the quarters to
To
12,
12
minute
minutes.
quarters?
Yeah.
It was a mercy rule.
Yep.
Is
It
what
hasn't
happened in
happened.
that
I don't
game.
think it happened. It hasn't happened in like 4 years.
It was they're not good. I think that was South Carolina State,
Yeah.
if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
South Carolina State.
And they don't have a program.
Right.
The zero's nice, but
The zero is the only thing in that whole thing. That's the only part that's impressive at all. The 59, it does. You could put 59. You could put 150.
a good
It
Gator
makes no
team,
difference.
a good Gator team, a good Michigan team, a good Alabama team doesn't allow any of those points either.
Right. I agree with you also. But there are some teams out there that are ranked that might.
Maybe.
I could see. Just the other day, 2 weeks ago, I could have saw Clemson. 14 to 59.
A pick six, a fumble. They say
absolutely.
You can't handicap turnovers. That's the adage in that.
What about USC? There's a team that's a solid team. USC. I see points there. Stanford. I could see some points put up on Stanford. So that's what I was saying the other day. And it's not so much. And this is a perfect example. Not so much how many points you destroy a team by when they're a bad team. It's keeping the donut, which is the impressive part. Because a field goal that evens it up a lot, and if you can stop even one field goal from going across, that's impressive.
It means a lot.
It does. It means a lot. So
really
I
does.
think that's a little more. This has been actually the most impressive game I thought for them because of that.
You do feel that they got off the snide a little bit. They shook that ring rust because they've looked like poo
Right.
for 2 weeks.
They wanted to come out and say, hey, look, we understand we haven't been doing that great. Let me show you. And this is how we're going to do it. And they came at both sides of that ball. And as I say, the 59 points, it doesn't matter what the points were. As long as they won by more than 40, it makes no difference. The only way that the points would have made a difference if they ended up 7-0, But that zero is what? That's the
Scoring the 59.
The exclamation point is the
Scoring
zero.
that 59 and not giving up any, I think, in that locker room feels a lot better than Georgia winning by 2 again against a team they should have won by 20, and it being the third time this year.
Right.
If you're that team and it happens to be Georgia has real concerns. Wisconsin.
Although Mizzou is a lot better than South, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, Mizzou was. They're not bad this year.
No, they're not.
Still.
But if you're ranked that high, you
Right.
should be taking them.
Well, Clemson
Pretty nice.
needed a win like that, a 59
To
nothing
pump themselves up.
Well, but you've got Houston on your heels at 6,
Right.
so they were in risk of sliding again 2 weeks in a row, winning if they didn't come out and have a game like that. They win 24-0 or 30-0.
The headlines after
They'll
Houston
get-
won was, well, they won't be in the playoff now. Like, what? They want? I don't know. Like, how are you already throwing them
No,
done?
I don't know. We put Houston and Clemson on the field right now.
I think Houston
I
beats
take
them.
Houston all day long.
I would too.
Yeah.
I would.
All day long. I don't care
Definitely.
what the spread is.
The volatility in the rankings are. I've never known it
This
to be
is the
this
worst
high.
year I've
Isn't
ever
it?
seen in my life.
I mean, isn't
there
it?
are now 15 top 25 teams have already lost. 15, 2 of which twice.
If you were number 5 and you lost a game, you'd go down to 11 to 12, whatever the number is. Now, when you lose and how you lose, it's not just that you lose. It's how you lose and how you win. That's the volatility. That's why Texas went to 10. That's why Wisconsin went to 11, is because of how they won. Man, Miami wows people with a bunch of points and they get a 7-point bump. If Florida can, beat Tennessee this weekend by 10 points, you're going to go from 16 to 8. You're going to.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
I honestly
Yeah,
don't.
It's being
the hate
proven.
on the
It's
Gators.
all through. It's
Look at the
We'll see-
Louisville
let's
score.
see it.
They win the way that they do, and now they're the third best team in the nation.
But
Don't
I think
so.
I think the Gators get hate.
Don't think
Here's
so.
here's the
Nonstop.
here's the difference though with that with your example. FSU was a top 3 team,
So you take their
and
spot.
Louisville was a top 12 team or whatever.
You
I
think
mean,
they're the third best team in the nation? Though?
Here are the rankings, the movement anyway, with those rankings. Louisville moved up 7 spots.
Right.
7, and they're
Okay.
they're at 3.
so who's fourth?
Is
Brian asked
Michigan.
the question.
Michigan.
I think Louisville. Would they? I'm not sure. Could they absolutely beat Michigan? What's the next team?
It's the splash. They beat FSU on such a.
Well, he's saying are they the third best team? I'm asking like who's behind them then? So could they beat Michigan? They
Michigan, Clemson,
could.
Houston.
They beat
Stanford.
Clemson. Ooh, Houston.
But
Yeah,
the-
I think most of those teams you could make an argument that they could beat all those
at
teams.
the end of the year, with all the volatility, as long as you continue to win, you're going to find yourself in a spot that you should be in. That's how
That's what I told
Yeah,
Evan. You
yeah,
can't.
yeah,
Who cares
absolutely,
if
yeah.
you're in the SEC? It doesn't matter where
Well,
you're
that's
ranked.
what we
But
talk about.
I
Yeah.
do not
geez,
like.
here we
I
go.
don't like how it fluctuates so much. Miami moved up 10 spots.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's too much.
For Appalachia State?
That's too much.
That would have been too much if they beat Alabama, for Christ's
too
sake.
much.
Yeah. What we'll do is we'll cover the rankings in the second half of the top 25 scores. This is the Brian Gould Show Sports Edition 444 Radio. We'll be right back.
Listening to 444 Radio, live from Body Mind Wellness Center Studios.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sean Stringer. Me and Dr. Philip Nikeo are the newest members of the 444 Radio lineup. We'll cover weight loss, health issues, mental health issues, and we'll talk with top health, wellness, and personal development gurus in the industry. You can even call in with your questions and much, much more. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Wednesday nights from 7 to 9 on 444 Radio.
Evan, we've lived here 6 months and this bathroom still looks terrible. You're supposed to help me remodel it by now.
I know. You just know how busy I am, though.
Busy? We've got to get this done. If I can't do it because I don't have time and you don't have time, what are we going to do?
I know who to call.
Hello, my name is Stephen Dennis. I own a business here in town called Needaman2 LLC. My email address is needaman2@gmail.com. My number is 941-232-2776. Again, that's 941-232-2776.
Oh my gosh, this looks amazing.
What a great idea.
How you doing? This is Chuck from the BS Show. I would like to tell you about a great company, Sarasota Sign Machine, LLC, the exclusive sign and print sponsor for 444 Radio. A sign of quality you can trust, located at 601 North Washington Boulevard, celebrating 6 years in business and over 20 years of experience in Sarasota. If you need signs, banners, vehicle magnets, custom design, neon repair, business cards, printing, and more, trust the Sarasota Sign Machine. Look, let's be honest, you have so much more to think about when running your own business. Call us at 941-302-4275. Check us out on Facebook or at sarasotasignmachine.com. A sign of quality you can trust. Tell them the BS Show sent you.
So, Evan, you want to make the other announcement? I know you're excited and happy.
We do have a fantastic new sponsor, absolutely. We are now very lucky to have Rico's Pizza as a sponsor for us. 6547 Gateway Avenue in Gulf Cape. They're open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. They've been there 17 years. Jump
anywhere.
online, ricospizza2go.com. Give them a phone call at 941-922-9604. We did find out today that you mentioned the 444 Radio or the BS Show from 444 Radio, you will get 20% off your tab. Give them a phone call, guys, 941-922-9604 or ricospizza2go.com.
Hello, this is Captain Sherman of Paradise Boat Tours, and if you're looking for a great adventure on our beautiful local waters, then we are the boat tour for you. Check out our website at seadolphins.com. We leave 7 days a week from Bradenton Beach Pier on beautiful Anna Maria Island. It's fun for the whole family, and yes, we see wild dolphin 95% of our tours. Paradise Boat Tours. Call us at 941-465-8624. Like us on Facebook or go to seadolphins.com. Here, Flipper.
Hey, this is Paulie from the BS Show. When I'm out and about, having too many, it happens to us all, there's only one cab service I call. It's my ride. 941-400-6606. No more 3-time surcharges. No more drivers that don't speak English, don't know where you're going. They pick you up, they take you home safely, clean cars. They're professionals. They know exactly what they're doing. And when you're riding with my ride, don't forget to mention the BS Show, 20% off your ride. Chucky, on occasion, will have too much.
Not me, Paul.
These guys are the best. They're what you want to call. They will take care of you. 941-400-6606. My ride. It's not your ride. It's not his ride.
My ride.
It's my ride.
Hey guys, how we doing? This is Evan from the Bee and the Soup Bed Show. I'm here with Rita from J-Dubs Brewing Company, and we're in studio. How are we doing today, Rita?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. Hey, I know you have a fantastic brewery over there. Please tell me a little bit about it.
The brewery itself has a tasting room. It has 10 tap lines, so you can find anything that you want, from a light to a dark flavor.
So whatever you like, you can get it?
Absolutely. We got a flavor for you.
Perfect. Also, tell me a little bit about the beer garden I'm hearing so much about.
We got a big backyard out back. We're kid-friendly. We're dog-friendly, so you can come bring your family and friends and just have a good time, play some games, and drink some beer.
Excellent. And then you guys got food?
Absolutely. We got food trucks every day around 5 o'clock. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, noon to midnight.
Excellent. Hey, I hear a rumor that you guys do something cool over there on Wednesdays.
We do. We have free yoga on Wednesday evening starting at 6:30. Come hang out and drink a beer and stretch it out.
That sounds like a great way to spend a Wednesday, I'll tell you. It's 1215 Mango Avenue, Sarasota, Florida, 941-955-2739. And what about social media?
Go to jdubsbrewing.com and you'll find everything right there.
You guys are by far the best brewery in town, and we're proud to have you guys as our sponsor. Come on out there, have a drink with us, and we'll sit around and have a good time.
Cheers, guys.
This is Chuck from the BS Show. I wanted to take some time to talk about a great charity organization, the Honor Flight. This organization flies our veterans to Washington, D.C. to visit those memorials dedicated to honor the service and sacrifices of themselves and their friends. Please come out and drink some beers at Hurricane Mike's on the last Saturday of every month from 1 to 6. Hurricane Mike's has a guest bartender at each event, 50-50 raffles, liquor baskets, and silent auctions. The bartenders even donate all the tips they make that day. Hurricane Mike's is located at 2639 Mall Drive in Gulfgate. Last month, Hurricane Mike's raised over $1,100 for the Honor Flight. From everyone here at 444 Radio and Hurricane Mike's, we want to thank you for your support of our vets.
Gulfgate, Sarasota, it's time to eat, and there's only one place to go. Ham Heaven and Devil Dogs, 2647 Mall Drive in Gulfgate. Try the one-of-a-kind filet mignon sliders or the award-winning Reuben sandwich, voted best in the state of Florida. Ham Heaven and Devil Dogs is open Monday through Saturday till 3 a.m. So after the bars close, you can get some of the best food in Sarasota. Call in and place your order today at 941-923-2514. That's 941-923-2514. Check them out online at hamheavenanddevildogs.webs.com or on facebook.com/HH&DD.
Hey, this is Chuck from the BS Show. I want you guys to go check out the best Italian restaurant I've ever been to, Dolce Italia. It's at 6551 Gateway Ave. Their phone number for reservations, 941-921-7007. Guys, when I say this food's amazing, I've been all over the country, all over the world. This is the best Italian food I've ever had. Authentic, unbelievable stuff. Gotta go check it out.
Hi, I am Tiziana. I come from Naples. I own Dolce Italia, Italian restaurant in Gulf Gate, 6551 Gateway Avenue. Come to try our wonderful food. Mangia bene, ridi spesso, ama molto. Eat well, laugh often, love much.
Come out to J-Dub's Brewery on Saturday, September 24, 2016 from 6 to 10 p.m. for Art Rhymes and Beer, a music and art series that features artists, musicians, and local businesses joining together for a charitable cause. A silent art auction and raffle benefits Any Given Child Sarasota, an organization that is changing young lives through the arts in Sarasota School. Art Rhymes and Beer is sponsored by Art and Frame of Sarasota, Kimmel Lumber, and Bobcat Disposal. For more information, go to facebook.com/artrhymesandbeer or email artrhymesandbeer@gmail.com.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. This is the Brian Gould Show Sports Edition on 444 Radio.
Blah, 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 blah.
Let's cover the second half of these top 25 scores, touch on the poll, and then this week's games. Touch the poll, the rankings. USC fell to Stanford 27-10, no surprise there. Washington over Portland State 41-3, again, no surprise there. Wisconsin destroyed Georgia State, even though the score doesn't show it, but 23-17 defensively. Wisconsin did pretty well in that game. That was a good game to watch. Texas gets beat by Cal 50-43.
That was a surprise. I knew Texas wasn't the best, but I mean Cal. I was surprised. I really was.
Texas likes to lose to Pac-12 teams. They really do.
They don't play well on the road.
And they don't play well against Pac-12 teams. It just seems
you
like.
Add a few of those variables together, and it meant for a tough road for them this weekend. They had a few games that they won. I think maybe they were sipping a little of their own Kool-Aid.
Yep.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
That they were really bad last year, and they weren't expected to do so well. And with that instant, go ask the Buccaneers about basking in the glory after week one, when they win week one and they're demigods and they're walking around like their feet aren't hitting the ground, and then they get the business on week two because they've been getting suntans all week, signing autographs. Yeah, man, we're great. Hoo hoo ha ha. It's 40-0. Yeah, welcome to the reality show.
Another Cardinal coming into killing you. Gotta watch those guys. Those horrible Cardinals. Gotta watch those things.
Nightcap.
Peck your eye out.
Nightcap game. Michigan State goes into South Bend and beats the Irish 36-28. Big surprise there?
No, I mean I expect the Michigan State to win. The biggest surprise is that it was so close.
Wow. Really good game. I was glad to see Torrey Hunter Jr. get back on the field. Been watching that kid a little bit. He's been doing quite well over there for Notre Dame. Iowa gets upset by North Dakota State.
By the way, you go ahead.
Field goal right at the end of the game.
I'm telling you,
Ouch.
North Dakota State is nothing to be trifled with.
Ouch.
They have taken out 5 top 25 teams, I think, in the last 3 years or some craziness like that.
6 years, yeah.
6 years. They are nothing to play with. They are going to come into your house and beat the crap out of you. They don't care who you are, because they don't think they're only North Dakota State. They think they are Alabama, and they don't give a damn about you or your house.
It's evolution. It's progression as well. Those smaller schools are getting better. We talk about App State every week. Some of it was at Brian's expense with a few jokes over the years. They're getting better. They're not 28-point dogs anymore.
You know what I think the biggest difference is? The athletes are always the athletes. The kids are always the kids. There's no difference there. I think it's the coaches. You have so many coaches that are good these days, that are going and learning from other people and bringing different divisions' way of playing into different spots. And really, really smart coaching is what the biggest difference is, I think.
How do you feel about the Louisville? I was asked this question over the weekend with Louisville FSU. Hey, why is Jackson still running? Why is Jackson still playing? It's 63-10. I'll tell you why. Because this is the biggest resource that program is going to be able to use
for next year,
for a decade.
That's right.
Look, you see this? Mm-hmm. This is called a Heisman.
That's right.
And we won this because this is how we roll in Louisville.
That's right.
And when you're sitting down with Mama Ketchum and her son
in the kitchen,
they's finna make something other than a Heisman, and that's the sales pitch, and it's a big deal. And that's why you see those scores get run up in those smaller programs. Heaven forbid you get a chance to have a kid like this that falls into your lap. Man, work that.
Yeah.
Use it, because that's going to be the catalyst for your program going forward. So in 5 years from now, it's not the same old Louisville. If App State has a good player that gets on an NFL squad, you sit down with Mama Ketchum and you say, look, we've got 3 guys in the NFL in the last 5 years.
Right now. And these are the guys who we beat. And you go through them.
That's right.
Bang, 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 bang,
So
bang.
not only is it good coaching, and the coaching is getting better,
right,
that success
but it's a tool.
is breeding opportunity.
It definitely helps with the recruiting.
I'll tell you, man, North Dakota State, impressive. Mm-hmm. Watch the rest of the year, how they go. They are going to be. You don't want to play them. You just don't want to play them.
They're
you
still
close
undefeated.
your
Let
eyes.
me ask you a question. Since they're allowed to be ranked, what happens if a Division I or whatever they're called now somehow made it up the rankings?
They don't get in.
They would just be pretend they're not there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They get overlooked.
Stupid.
They're better than 6 or 7 of those teams on the bottom of the rankings now. They're
Now,
better than
here's the
San
thing.
Diego State.
But you know what though? What it does is because they get paid. They're getting paid to get there. That's what the biggest difference is. But then they make the case for, hey, it's time to go to the next level. And they're going to well, what do you think you've done? Well, this is what I've done. I've come into your Division I houses and beat the crap out of you. It's time for me to go.
And I would make for an argument for that, but I hope that they never do that, because if you're that good and you're that flaunty and flashy about it, then guess what? We're going to put you up in Division I now with us, and you're going to have a Division I schedule for the next 5 seasons. And if you're still pulling away the wins that you're pulling away after 5 seasons, then you've got a case. But that team plays 5 real teams this season, and they'll lose 4 out of the 5.
Right, but you don't think since they do win so much, they don't
let them go undefeated.
They
let them
should,
go 12
but
and 0.
you don't think they should be allowed to come up to the Division
and
I?
you get a good bowl game, and then you get a mediocre Oklahoma team that comes in and kicks your balls straight up your throat.
Haven't they won their championship in their something
Yes.
like 4 or 5 years? That should automatically make.
But how do you ever get better if you don't allow them to come up and try
Allow me to give you this
that?
example. It's my most despised program in any sport. Is Gonzaga basketball.
Oh, Zaga.
The Zags play Portland, San
They're always a
Francisco
surprise.
State, San Francisco State, San
Cinderella.
Francisco State, Long Beach, back to Portland State, Portland State, Portland State, and then they have some guy with a bad porn mustache, and they win their tournament, and they've lost 4 games all year, and then they're look at us, we're number 4, we're a 4 seed. You're crap, you're trash. But when you do it every year. Right. And you continue to soak up all that nonsense in a really lousy conference and then play Duke once.
Right.
Then you're starting to get the Ronnie Turiafs. You're starting to get the Morrisons. Now there's kids, Stockton's there. You're getting players that are in that program that had no interest in being in a program like that 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So here it is now where it's, maybe it's North Dakota, maybe it's App State. You see these programs that have no business even being competitive in a game. There's no way that NDSU should come into Iowa on any year.
Ever.
But times are a-changing.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. You invite them up to Division I. Yep. And you say, look, here we go. Good luck. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to lose 80% of their games the first 2 years.
You're right.
First 2-3 years.
Preach.
But you know what? They've got to play those games so they know what they're getting into so they can get better so they can play those games.
And now you're recruiting against your competition.
You can't, I think it's worse for North Dakota State to just play once. Even if they win those games, they only play once or twice, and they win both of them. That's not what they need. What they need is to come in and lose 8 of them. That's what they need to do. They need to play 8 of those teams, and those are the more important games, not the ones you win by a fluke. You need to come in and lose those games so you can break it down and actually get better. You get better when you lose. You get better with the experience of losing.
Stop being a perennial giant killer and give your program an opportunity to become a giant.
Right.
Well, that's all going to fall back into the conferences and their contracts. Who they can allow and who they won't allow in, and deadlines.
What do you think? 157,000 teams is too much. One more is going to make a difference.
Well, yeah.
We've got more bowls than some divisions have teams. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we can make a little here and there, bringing somebody else in. I mean, UFC. I'm sorry, UCF. But they've only been in 10 years. South Florida's only been in 8 years. And they're just now, and UF and South. I mean, the Knights still are.
Both of those teams were propositioning to get out of their conference and to move. We talked about that last week. Mm-hmm. What a huge opportunity for USF, and they're using every opportunity that they're being given right now. Man, they're undefeated. They're playing FSU this weekend and getting 6 at home. If they can win this game, they go to that conference to say, hey, you know what? We talked about who was worthy. Here we are. This year is a big deal.
And
it's a big
South Florida and the ACC.
You also got to keep in mind too. South
12.
Florida, Central Florida. Florida's a breeding cesspool for football talent.
Florida and Texas.
When was the last
California?
When was the last time you heard someone from North Dakota come out and play pro ball somewhere and or pro anything? Okay.
Well, to be fair though, I bet you if we busted down that North Dakota State team, I'd like to see how many people actually are from North Dakota.
Okay, that's I think probably an isolated.
Yeah, I mean, if they got 4 guys on that team,
you can't even click on their. You can't even click on their team.
Go
name
back
on ESPN.
5 years and look at that. Maybe something I do. You go back to a roster 5 years ago and look before Wentz was there, and you look to see how many players on that roster were from North Dakota.
Right.
And then you fast forward 5 years with a little progression and a little bit of
a
opportunity.
bunch of big wins.
And now you're getting those guys from Utah. You're getting those guys that don't go to BYU or don't go to Utah.
A guy
or
who's
State.
about to go to a number one tier school, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to go in here, and by the time I'm a senior, I might be a starter. Or the guy gets wined and dined, sat there and go, look, you come on out here, like we know your potential. For us, you come in the day you walk through the door, you are a starter. I guarantee you. You will be on TV, and you're going to be playing. Look at our schedule. You're going to be playing these many top 25 teams. By the way, in the last 6 years, we've taken out 5 of them.
By the way,
That's
in the
impressive.
last 5 years, we've put a number 2 overall pick in the NFL.
Right.
You know, who's 2-0 this year. You don't think he's sitting down in the living room right now screaming about how Carson was a 1 year. Carson started 1 year at quarterback in high school.
Mm-hmm.
1, the number after 0.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes into the college. The reason why he wasn't given any opportunity anywhere else, he's played 1 year in some bodink, cattle herding high school.
Right.
Cattle herder U. That's where he was supposed to go. He goes over to NDSU. And the rest is history. And, man, use that to your advantage.
That's why South Florida always has such a great pitch. Guys, we are not Miami. We are not Florida State. We are not Florida.
North Dakota State has 14 players from the state of North Dakota on their roster. They have 6 from Florida.
Oh, see? Check that out.
And I'd like to look I will look 5 years previous and look and see what the percentage in that contrast is, because I think that it's not what I think, it's what I know, that success breeds success. If you're able to
6 guys from Florida
Yes.
went to North Dakota.
I get to play this.
Think about that alone. That's impressive alone.
Yes.
And that kid wants to play, and they're pulling better athletes because
Absolutely. And South Florida, that's why I'm like, South Florida has the potential to be so ridiculously good, because it's still not Florida State, or Miami. So you are still, when you are like just missed being the top tier player, what an argument you have at South Florida. Like, look, we are in Tampa, which is a crazy city in comparison to everywhere else. There's all kinds of nightlife in comparison to Gainesville and Florida State. You're actually in a city. You can be by the water, within this time. You come in within the first year to 2 years, you are guaranteed to be a starter.
And side note, remaining of their schedule are now all on ESPN3, every one of their games.
See that? Bang. Now you're talking TV money.
Yep.
Now that's something else too. Guys, this isn't just going to be once a year you're going to be on TV. You are going to be on ESPN every week. And kids like that, because you know what happens? Your name gets known by people.
Of course.
Then that means NFL teams go, "Oh,
hey, I was on
hang
TV
on,
last
I've
week."
seen you. Great way to get laid. Just even that alone is a great sell."
Absolutely. And what's the radius of the recruiting opportunities now? Now it goes national.
That's right.
Instead of just being, a small circle where you don't have the money. Now with this TV, you got more money.
And here's the thing: you start pulling guys from Florida, you start pulling guys from Texas, you
From
start
Ohio,
pulling guys from Ohio, from California. Now you've got the 4 major states. Now you're done.
Yep.
Now you're pulling from everywhere.
Hey.
Well, just to touch on the last couple scores here, Tennessee over Ohio 28-19. Georgia defeats Missouri 28-27 in a close game. Texas A&M 29-16 over Auburn. A couple more here.
Okay,
LSU over Mississippi State 23-20. Oregon loses to Nebraska. Not really a shocker there, 35-32. Florida closes and zeroes out North Texas 32-0. Arkansas 42-3 over Texas State. And Miami defeats App State 45-10.
Here's my issue with the Georgia-Mizzou game. I think that was a coaching issue. I think Georgia should have lost that game. Twice, Mizzou had a chance to go for the 2-point conversion when they were up by 5 at one point, and then they were up by 12 the next time, and they didn't go for the 2-point conversion either time.
Has Georgia given you anything, anybody at the table, has Georgia shown you anything to give you hope or excitement that they're going to be, attractive this year? What have they done? Tell me what they've done so far to say, man, that's sexy.
They're doing just enough to get by.
3-0.
Okay.
That's
and
it.
They're going to go on the road this week,
Yep.
on the road, and go see Ole Miss, who is pissed as hell.
They don't make it.
Georgia is going to get the wood.
I think so. I think Georgia is going to be dismembered.
I think Chubbs is probably one of the best running backs that I've seen come through the SEC and come through. I like to watch these guys play when they're in college. It's just something I enjoy. Everybody has an eye for talent, maybe. Chubbs he had 32 carries, and before he blew his leg out last year, he was running. The guy's the goods. Chubbs is going to be the goods. Side note: Chubbs is the goods. He's going to have an issue because that's all that they are going to be able to. They're going to give him the ball, give him the ball, give him the ball. Ole Miss is going to give it to him this weekend.
Yep, he's going to get beat. He's going to get beat. He's going to get. Not that he's not going to. He's going to score probably. Is he going to get some yards? Absolutely, but he's going to pay for it. Mm-hmm. You see him on Sunday, and he's not going to be feeling too good.
Georgia breeds running backs, NFL running backs.
Yes.
Terrell Davis, Moreno, the Heisman winner from the 80s.
What
about Herschel Walker?
Herschel Walker.
Yeah. 1980.
You know, you got Gurley.
Yeah, Gurley who?
Oh, come on. 2 bad weeks don't equal.
Yeah, that dude's getting traded if he has one more crappy
I'll
week
take him.
this week.
I'll take him. I'll take him right now.
Definitely.
You want to go into that trade right now?
Yeah.
I got somebody for you.
I mean, with Georgia, you look at teams like that always are consistent at certain positions, but they're 3-0.
Let's also remember, brand new coach, brand new quarterback,
and they're doing it.
Brand new scheme.
Everything.
That's
and they're doing
something
it.
you also have to take into
especially
account.
in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
That's true too.
They're doing it.
All that means absolutely nothing when Ole Miss comes and thumps them.
Yeah.
I do feel that certain programs are known for. We watched the Penn State game this last weekend, and again, I spent a lot of time with my son. We watched this game, and he's like, and I mentioned linebacker U, and he said, "What's linebacker U?" And I let him know that school is so well known for putting out linebackers that they nickname it Linebacker University because you're a badass when you come through there. If you play linebacker, Penn State, LeVar Arrington and Brown, number 1 and number 2 overall back in that draft, that's sick. Well, so I like Georgia running backs. I digress.
How do you not? That's a
Yeah.
great argument.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 5 of the best players of all time.
Right.
Definitely at that position.
5 of the best players in the last 15 to 20 years that have grabbed a football. If it wasn't for TD always being hurt, that guy's one of the best running backs that ever grabbed a football. You remember how dominant he was?
Yeah.
Man, that was fun to have. I had TD on my fantasy team years and years ago. You don't stop the guy. You just give him the ball, touchdown, 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 touchdown. That's all he did.
Guys, can we say that the Big 12 is now on the outside of the playoff picture? Oklahoma falls to 1-2.
Always are.
And next best team is Baylor. TCU, maybe, and maybe on a stretch Texas. Baylor at 16. Ahead of Baylor right now is 4 ACC teams, 4 SEC teams, 4 Big Ten teams, and a Houston team. 2 Pac-12 teams as well. Is the Big 12 out of the playoff picture altogether?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even with Baylor possibly.
Baylor does not have. Watch a game. I would encourage you to find some film. Go and watch the games that I've watched, that we've watched of Baylor this year, and then come back in tomorrow and give me one reason why you would
whether
think.
You're watching film or not. If they quote unquote win out.
Yeah, that.
How do you deny that?
A lot of teams are going to win out.
Well, you know what? You're going to see the kind of team Baylor is. They're playing Oklahoma State, who's horrible, this week. And we'll see how it turns. You'll be able to see a pretty
good.
Who
are they playing this weekend?
They're playing Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
Baylor
State.
Right, Oklahoma State.
And way Baylor
who was
plays,
lucky to be 2-1.
And the way that Baylor plays in the first half in 3 weeks, they're going to get whipped.
Yep.
They're going to blink and it's going to be 28-10. They're going to what is going on here?
Big 12 on the outside looking in. That's really weird to say.
There's too many Louisvilles. There's too many Houstons that are going to have that opportunity. They have no shot. So I'll tell you, they have no shot. I like TCU at the beginning of the year. We all talked about our preseason deals.
They fell apart.
They don't. Yeah. I can't encourage that anymore. I thought maybe that's why they're dark horses.
And then the top 25, we'll take it from the bottom up. Oklahoma sitting at 25. Utah.
That is ridiculous.
Utah at 24, Ole Miss 23, San Diego State 22, Texas 21, Nebraska 20, Florida 19, LSU 18, Arkansas 17, Baylor 16, Miami jumps up to 15.
Ridiculous.
Tennessee 14, Florida State drops to 13.
That's ridiculous too.
Georgia moves up to 12, Wisconsin drops down to 11, Texas A&M moves up to 10, Washington drops down to 9, Michigan State up to 4, Stanford stays at 7, Houston still at 6, Clemson still at 5, Michigan still 4, Louisville jumps up to 3, Ohio State 2, and Bama number 1. The top 5, Bama, Ohio State, Louisville, Michigan, Clemson. Is that the right order? Bama's still the best team in the nation?
Yeah, until they're the champs. Until they get beat.
Until they get beat.
And they played a really good Ole Miss team and won. Did it look that great for them? Not really, but it was you get into those games and Ole Miss beat them 2 years in a row. So that's That's no joke.
Don't get to play Northwestern and win by 10 and ask yourself why you slipped down one or why people aren't getting behind your cause. That's why they're running up the scores, and that's why they're playing so
Alabama's
hard.
definitely number one.
Alabama played a real team last week.
I think Ohio State is overrated for number 2. I think that's ridiculous. I think I'd put Louisville and Houston. Well, definitely Louisville ahead of them. I would probably put Louisville as number 2, Michigan number 3.
Man, I like Houston.
Houston number 4, Clemson 5. Maybe Ohio State 5, Clemson 6. I don't know. That's the way
we all I think are cheering for Houston.
Right.
It sounds like
I'm a realist, and here's a take. If Houston were to play Michigan or Ohio State this weekend, I think Houston's feelings are going to get hurt. I'm a big advocate. I
think if Houston plays Ohio State right now, they thump
Houston,
them.
Man. They play a great offense, and their defense. They have that 5-star kid that plays the line. He was the best recruit in the nation, and Houston got him. And that's another thing. That they've been really getting a parade about.
How about Louisville? Louisville number 2.
Louisville's that defense. It doesn't scare me. That offense scares me.
Right.
I think they're going to win a lot of games to 65-38.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get to be a rich man's Marshall and win like that because you're going to come across a week where Jackson's just not feeling it.
So you feel good for Louisville at 3?
You know what? I think Louisville had a great game, and Florida State had a bad game. I think if you run that game back next week, it's a completely different score.
But you could say the same thing about the Florida State the game before.
I'm addressing this issue. Louisville to jump up to third best after being the number 3 team in the nation by however many points they beat them by, blah, 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 blah. Again, I think it was a really good game that came out of Louisville and a really bad game out of Florida State. I think Florida State beats them head-to-head if they play again.
Then how do you justify Michigan being behind Ohio State? I think right now Michigan takes Ohio State all day long. I think they've been playing way better.
It's just the preseason ranking that they
had
Ohio State ahead of them. That's all.
The stupid preseason rankings that would. You remember Auburn when Cam was there? It was Campbell? Redskins drafted him, and Carlos Rogers was on the outside. You had Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown. Maybe I watched a few games, and that team was ranked, I think, 17 when the year started, and they had no shot to get that championship game because of the preseason rankings. They were hands and shoulders, knees and toes better than every other team out there, but they couldn't do anything about the preseason ranking. What could you do? They didn't do the ranking the way they do now, where it was so volatile and up and down. You beat a team, you gained what someone lost in front of you, and that was it. And now, Louisville's on TV. It's all sexy. Herbstreit's talking about Heisman's, and how do you not love Jackson running around like he's Mike Vick? Mike Vick came out and said, you know what? This kid's better than me. He said that last weekend.
Yeah, he did.
And for a guy that's an ego monster, I mean, they're all ego monsters. That guy, for him to say out loud that he's a better quarterback than I am, he is. I don't know that Jackson can spell his own name.
Yeah,
listen to that guy talk.
There's a little bit of hype. There's a little bit of extra.
He can play football though.
You don't pay him to read.
There's some hype there, and I don't see Louisville holding that 3 spot long. They're going to get knocked off.
Brother, when you watch him run, who does he remind you of? When was the last time I asked you that, and then I asked you?
He had a really good game. He had a good game, and they're
How about
all
the
due
other
for
games?
that.
13 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks?
Who gets beat first, Ohio State or Louisville?
Louisville. Ohio State's one and only loss at the end of the season.
Louisville has one more game on the schedule that is formidable, and that's Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else is staying away from the Kool-Aid.
And that's in 2 weeks.
Bobby and the coach saying, kids, shut your mouth. He should put everybody in solitary and let them work
Take their
out
phones.
And grab the phones and don't let them read anything. No media, and just play football, and they have a chance. Otherwise, they're going to go straight USF back when Grothy was quarterback and rank number 3 overall, and then get teabagged.
Because they still have to run through. They still have to beat Clemson, and then second to last game of the season. They have to.
I'll tell you what.
Beat Houston.
Ohio State still has to go.
So there's that.
Ohio State has to go to Wisconsin. Has to go to Penn State, and I know Penn State's not that great, but it's still at Penn State. They have to. They play Nebraska still, and they have to go to Michigan State at Michigan State, and then Michigan. I'm sorry, I think Louisville. Louisville is.
That's a serious schedule.
That is, and I skipped Maryland, but that's at Maryland, And right now, they're not playing. They're getting it done. And the thing is, and here's something else too, right? They're going to go at Penn State. Well, shit, you can even go this. It's going to be tough because they go starting in October. They go at Wisconsin, then they go at Penn State, then they get Northwestern. But then right after that, they play Nebraska, Maryland, MSU, then into Michigan. You got both two of those are away. I'm telling you.
Then
Ohio State does not go undefeated.
And I know it's nobody of nobody, but Rutgers is playing really good, and that's their next game too. They'll win.
That's true.
I mean, the Big Ten as a whole has turned around and looked very well this season. And it's not because I'm a Big Ten guy, but honestly, 8 out of 10 teams that played this last week won, and it's consistent.
Who has the resiliency? Act like you've been here before. Act like you've picked up a chick. Act like it's not your first beer.
Yep.
And Ohio State, I didn't, look this up and research this. How many NFL players have come off of that OSU roster in the last 10 years, in the last 5 years? So every week is a championship game for them because that Big Ten is legitimate. You never know which week you're going to lose.
Look at that Louisville too.
They're galvanized. That's my point, is that Ohio State is galvanized where they can't – that letdown game is not as glaring to me as the Louisville letdown game. Oh, we just won. Woo!
I know.
Hey.
But look at this Louisville game.
Heisman.
Louisville has got, in comparison to Ohio State, they only have to play Clemson, period, and then they don't have to do anything until Houston, the second last game.
Last point about Louisville. What happens if Jackson goes down?
That's totally different. He is the team.
He's the team.
We understand that. Who's a better team overall is different than who's better. Who's a better team.
And through this argument, we're able to discuss which team is better and why. You feel that Louisville would beat OSU in a game that they played in a neutral.
I do.
If they played that game in Cincinnati or they played that in Texas, you feel that Ohio State would lose that game based on one guy's performance.
Right.
That is an incredible.
Well,
performance.
No. The team's performance, but yes, definitely spearheaded by one person.
Because if that one person
he's going to have to be 100% to be able to do it.
And Urban Meyer doesn't know how to shut down one player on the field, because when that one player gets shut down, then we're
Jackson's
saying Louisville.
special though, Brian.
Yeah,
I mean, really, Lamar is really
you
gifted.
can contain. I don't know if you can shut him down.
I agree. Here I'm talking trash about Louisville. I love the program, and Lamar is awesome.
And they have 2 games left.
I'm just talking about the quirky
part.
ranking system. You beat the third best team in the nation. Now you're the third best team. Not overnight.
Right.
I'm not a believer.
I think that's ridiculous.
I look at Louisville and I look at Clemson. Not a believer. They're good, but they're not that good. And
Clemson, I'm with you 100%. I am.
I think if you're 10th and you beat the 3rd, that's not that bad of a jump. If you're 25th and you beat a 3rd and they move you up to 3rd, that's ridiculous. But when you're already a top 10 team and you beat another top 10 team, that's not that.
Well, and how about this? How about Houston? You think Houston and Louisville are in the same conversation, or do you think one's a better team than the other?
I think Houston's
a better team.
Agreed.
Right. I think Louisville could definitely win easily.
It's about Lamar being so special. It reminds me, you watch a guy like Vince Young or Michael Vick come along every 10 years they're just better. They've run all over the place and they make people look foolish. Colin Kaepernick with Nevada ran forever. Those games were on at 10 o'clock at night, and talk about making a late play on Saturday evening. It was Kaepernick. The kid for Hawaii.
6 years ago?
The white kid, yeah.
7 years ago?
The quarterback.
In 08.
Cody.
I don't remember what that guy's.
We drafted him.
They got destroyed by Georgia, though. But yeah,
man, he wasn't in the same. I take that back. Hawaii's not in the same conversation that we're having. But those other guys are so good that they can make a difference on a game. I think that Ohio State or Michigan, Harbaugh goes out and will game plan for Lamar as best that he can. He will have a spy, and he's going to have another spy. And let that running back beat you, and let the wideout beat you.
Brian,
when you've got Jordan Lewis and Jabril Peppers in the backfield there, bring it right up the middle and get your head taken off.
Here's a question for you. Who do you think the biggest pretender in the top 25 is?
There's a couple.
The biggest?
The biggest.
Ooh.
Well, me personally, I'm not a big fan of Clemson. I don't think they're that great.
Do you think they're not a top 25 team, though?
They are. Fifth best in the nation? No, definitely not. I think personally, even with a loss, Notre Dame should be in the top 25. UCLA should definitely be there. I'd take...
But who do you think is in that shouldn't be at all?
Arkansas.
Arkansas?
Yes.
Really?
Okay.
Well,
and you
they're
say
a
that
cusp.
okay.
They're a cusp team.
Yes.
That's a team that's on a fringe.
Okay.
I can give them a fringe.
How
They're
about
25,
yourself?
24.
I don't even think there's a conversation. I think there's...
I mean, it's really opinion. LSU doesn't have a squad, but they're ranked 18.
Right.
Who is on this list that should not be on this list? That's the question.
Oklahoma all day long. Oklahoma all day long.
Probably Oklahoma. They've lost 2 games and won
Probably.
one.
They've lost 2. They're 25,
It's
and they were just
preseason
garbage to
ranking
begin with.
because they were 5.
I would take Ole Miss out too, honestly, dude. Even though they've choked 2 games away.
I said they should. Look, should they be in the top 25? I can understand not, but I'm saying I understand still being in the top 25 because they are, who they've played.
Because in 2 weeks,
but I don't think they should be in the top 25.
2 weeks, San Diego State's not there anymore. 2 weeks, California's not there, and Ole Miss is back.
But exactly, and you argue between Ole Miss and Oklahoma. There is no argument. Oklahoma should be history.
Yeah,
history.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
I think they are by far the biggest pretenders that were up there, and I only say that because the Irish are already gone. The Irish were the other one. That would have been my big one.
You know what I do admire about this last week's ranking is as fast, and I had a problem with Texas getting that super jump from unranked to number 10.
Right.
I had a real beef with that.
That's a problem.
That's a ridiculous.
As quick as they went from unranked to 11 or 10, they dropped 11 spots this last week with that loss to California.
That's probably where they should have been.
Fair enough. That's right.
It was a recorrection.
That's right. So I was glad to see that fixed.
Yeah, Arkansas definitely for me, and maybe LSU, but
LSU I could see. Yeah, I could see that. Oklahoma though, that's the only one. I mean, even Utah.
I looked at Utah for a minute,
but they're winning.
Yeah,
they're winning.
3-0.
You're talking about being overranked, and not deserving to be in the list at all. That's your question.
Right.
That
who's just not supposed to be there.
Yep.
So I can see Utah 24, right where they probably should be. 20, 25. You could say they should be 27, 28, or you could say they're 23, 24. I'm fine with any of that.
It always takes care of itself.
I'm fine with any of that.
Week 3, week
but
4,
Oklahoma,
there's teams.
No freaking way. They should be in the top 30.
Well, just for the sake of time, we're going to transition real quick over hockey and baseball, and then close it out with some NFL news. And
nice.
Then, segment that I'm bringing to Tuesdays called Suicide Drills. So.
Nebraska laying 7 this weekend. Game of the week. Nebraska's on the road against Northwestern, laying 7 points. Nebraska just gave Oregon the business at home. I think they're going to take that momentum. Ole Miss and Nebraska this weekend. CMU also.
Put your money on all of them.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, tonight, Team USA plays Canada in the World Cup of Hockey, Finland versus Sweden.
What time's that game?
That is a 8 o'clock game.
Do we know what channel?
ESPN.
Yes.
USA just came off of a tough loss.
They're playing Canada?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Every time they play, it's epic. Every time.
Well, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but we just lost to Europe on Saturday.
Yeah.
Team Europe 3-0. And then Canada defeated the Czech Republic 6-0. So... Finland plays Sweden. Look for the Swedes to get that win. But tonight, we've got a really, really tough game.
What are we? 3-1 underdogs, right?
At least. Canada's they're the heavy favorite.
They're good. I mean, they are usually, they're not world champs. Are always looking for it for no reason.
Oh, they're there for a reason. Yeah. So World Cup of Hockey. You can find the direct link on my website, briangouldshow.com, to watch the games and get tickets if you're in that area up in Toronto. Baseball's wild card race is getting better and better every day. There's approximately 12 games left to go.
Yes.
Over in the American League, Boston is probably going to win out the Eastern Division. That's kind of a no-brainer. Cleveland's got a 8-game lead over Detroit in the Central. Texas will probably win out the West. Baltimore and Toronto are sitting in the wild card spot right now. Baltimore, unless they have a big meltdown somewhere along the way, I think they're going to actually inch in over Detroit. Houston and Detroit both on the outside looking in, 3 games out. And Seattle's right there too with 3 games out. Detroit, my Tigers, they won last night over Cleveland 9-5, which we needed to because we're inching further and further away from that wild card spot. The American League.
No. Do you think with this, I mean, the Rangers look ridiculous. The Rangers are just killing it. I think it's going to be. I think the American League is going to have. It's going to be a fun year this year with the games, and I think it's Texas's to lose.
I think Toronto's going to be the team coming out of the American League.
You think so?
I got a weird hunch.
Oh.
If it's not them or Cleveland,
That's not a favorite. That's not a popular choice.
But I like Toronto. I mean, if they edge out Detroit for that last wild card spot, they'll beat Baltimore in a 1-game series, and then they'll go on and take on Texas. And I think they beat Texas. Over in the National League, Washington still leading in the East. The Cubs clinched last week, so that's a no-brainer there. They're looking to hit win number 100. They only have 5 more games to go to do that, or 5 more wins, rather. The Dodgers upset, quote-unquote, San Francisco last night, heartbreaker there. So they're holding on to the West. Now, in the wild card spot, the Mets lead.
Yep.
Over San Francisco and St. Louis. San Francisco and St. Louis are deadlocked for that last spot with, out of nowhere, Miami 4 games out with 12 games to go.
They closed in. They've been making plays for a few weeks now. They got hot. They won 7 straight. I'm not a believer. The pitching has to.
Do you see the Miami thing? What the percentage of them making the playoffs is? 0.1%.
0.1%.
Atlanta Braves 0%.
Oh yeah, well they're officially eliminated. So
yeah, I know.
We may be the only show that gets to talk about the Braves or brings up the Braves in their in the show. We talked about the Braves. I mentioned the Braves a few weeks ago that they've been playing pretty good baseball. They've been winning some baseball games on the back end of this. This last few weeks, it's not just the AA and the AAA guys. They're really giving it a go.
They're looking for 60 wins.
Yeah, they might get it because they beat the Mets last night.
I know.
Yikes.
Thanks. I was going to say about that.
Every time I see
it
the Mets,
doesn't matter. It's the Mets and Atlanta. That's why I hate them.
I see the Mets lose. When I see the Mets lose, I think of Evan in a tuxedo, like The Godfather, when his mouth is wide open and his hands over his face
3.
and his daughter dies, and there's no noise coming out, and it's just
music.
And then he takes a big breath and screams, and it's underneath that you'll see Pacino has this big M on his shirt and a tattoo of Evan on his forearm. It's strong.
Nice.
I'm not worried about it. We're sitting pretty.
Yeah, no, you're doing okay.
I think it'll be all right for the Mets. Mets are getting in there. Well, let's touch on some NFL, and then we'll close it out with suicide drills.
You want to go to break?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, we should. We'll take a quick break, guys. This is the Brian Gould Show on 444 Radio. We'll be right back.
Listening to 444 Radio, live from Body Mind Wellness Center Studios.
I'm Dr. Sean Stringer. Me and Dr. Philip Nikeo are the newest members of the 444 radio lineup. We'll cover weight loss, health issues, mental health issues, and we'll talk with top health, wellness, and personal development gurus in the industry. You can even call in with your questions and much, much more. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Wednesday nights from 7 to 9 on 444 Radio.
Evan, we've lived here 6 months and this bathroom still looks terrible. You're supposed to help me remodel it by now.
I know. You just know how busy I am, though.
Busy? We've got to get this done. If I can't do it because I don't have time and you don't have time, what are we going to do?
I know who to call.
Hello, my name is Stephen Dennis. I own a business here in town called Needaman2 LLC. My email address is needaman2@gmail.com. My number is 941-232-2776. Again, that's 941-232-2776.
Oh my gosh, this looks amazing.
What a great idea.
How you doing? This is Chuck from the BS Show. I would like to tell you about a great company, Sarasota Sign Machine, LLC, the exclusive sign and print sponsor for 444 Radio. A sign of quality you can trust, located at 601 North Washington Boulevard, celebrating 6 years in business and over 20 years of experience in Sarasota. If you need signs, banners, vehicle magnets, custom design, neon repair, business cards, printing, and more, trust the Sarasota Sign Machine. Look, let's be honest, you have so much more to think about when running your own business. Call us at 941-302-4600 4275. Check us out on Facebook or at SarasotaSignMachine.com. A sign of quality you can trust. Tell them the BS Show sent you.
So, Evan, you want to make the other announcement? I know you're excited and happy.
We do have a fantastic new sponsor, absolutely. We are now very lucky to have Rico's Pizza as a sponsor for us. 6547 Gateway Avenue in Gulfgate. They're open from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. They've been there 17 years. Jump online, ricospizzatogo.com. Give them a phone call at 941-922-9604. We did find out today that you mentioned the 444 Radio or the BS Show from 444 Radio. You will get 20% off your tab. Give them a phone call, guys, 941-922-9604 or ricospizzatogo.com.
Hello, this is Captain Sherman of Paradise Boat Tours, and if you're looking for a great adventure on our beautiful local waters, then we are the boat tour for you. Check out our website at seadolphins.com. We leave 7 days a week from Bradenton Beach Pier on beautiful Anna Maria Island. It's fun for the whole family, and yes, we see wild dolphin 95% of our tours. Paradise Boat Tours. Call us at 941-465-8624. Like us on Facebook or go to seadolphins.com. Here, Flipper.
Hey, this is Paulie from the BS Show. When I'm out and about, having too many, it happens to us all, there's only one cab service I call. It's my ride. 941-400-6606. No more 3-time surcharges. No more drivers that don't speak English, don't know where you're going. They pick you up. They take you home safely, clean cars. They're professionals. They know exactly what they're doing. And when you're riding with My Ride, don't forget to mention the BS Show, 20% off your ride. Chucky, on occasion, we'll have too much.
Not me, Paul.
These guys are the best. They're what you want to call. They will take care of you. 941-400-6606. My Ride. It's not your ride. It's not his ride.
My ride.
It's my ride.
Hey, guys. How we doing? This is Evan from the Bee and the Soup Bed Show. I'm here with Rita from J-Dub's Brewing Company, and we're in studio. How are we doing today, Rita?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Hey, I know you have a fantastic brewery over there. Please tell me a little bit about it.
The brewery itself has a tasting room. It has 10 tap lines, so you can find anything that you want, from a light to a dark flavor.
So whatever you like, you can get it?
Absolutely. We got a flavor for you.
Perfect. Also, tell me a little bit about the beer garden I've been hearing so much about.
We got a big backyard out back. We're kid-friendly. We're dog-friendly, so you can come bring your family and friends and just have a good time, play some games, and drink some beer.
Excellent. And you guys got food?
Absolutely. We got food trucks every day around 5 o'clock. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, noon to midnight.
Excellent. Hey, I hear a rumor that you guys do something cool over there on Wednesdays.
We do. We have free yoga on Wednesday evening starting at 6:30. Come hang out and drink a beer and stretch it out.
That sounds like a great way to spend a Wednesday, I'll tell you. It's 1215 Mango Avenue, Sarasota, Florida, 941-955-2739. And what about social media?
Go to jdubsbrewing.com and you'll find everything right there.
You guys are by far the best brewery in town, and we're proud to have you guys as our sponsor. Come on out there, have a drink with us, and we'll sit around and have a good time.
Cheers, guys.
This is Chuck from the BS Show. I wanted to take some time to talk about a great charity organization, the Honor Flight. This organization flies our veterans to Washington, D.C. to visit those memorials dedicated to honor the service and sacrifices of themselves and their friends. Please come out and drink some beers at Hurricane Mike's on the last Saturday of every month from 1 to 6. Hurricane Mike's has a guest bartender at each event, 50-50 raffles, liquor baskets, and silent auctions. The bartenders even donate all the tips they make that day. Hurricane Mike's is located at 2639 Mall Drive in Gulfgate. Last month, Hurricane Mike's raised over $1,100 for the Honor Flight. From everyone here at 444 Radio and Hurricane Mike's, we want to thank you for your support of our vets.
Gulfgate, Sarasota, it's time to eat, and there's only one place to go. Ham Heaven and Devil Dogs, 2647 Mall Drive in Gulfgate. Try the one-of-a-kind filet mignon sliders or the award-winning Reuben sandwich, voted best in the state of Florida. Ham Heaven and Devil Dogs is open Monday through Saturday till 3 a.m. So after the bars close, you can get some of the best food in Sarasota. Call in and place your order today at 941-923-2514. That's 941-923-2514. Check them out online at hamheavenanddevildogs.webs.com or on facebook.com/HH and DD.
Hey, this is Chuck from the BS Show. I want you guys to go check out the best Italian restaurant I've ever been to, Dolce Italia. It's at 6551 Gateway Ave. Their phone number for reservations, 941-921-7007. Guys, when I say this food's amazing, I've been all over the country, all over the world. This is the best Italian food I've ever had. Authentic, unbelievable stuff. Gotta go check it out.
Hi, I am Tiziana. I come from Naples. I own Dolce Italia, Italian restaurant in Gulf Gate, 6551 Gateway Avenue. Come to try our wonderful food. Mangia bene, ridi spesso, ama molto. Eat well, laugh often, love much.
Come out to J-Dub's Brewery on Saturday, September 24, 2016 from 6 to 10 p.m. for Art Rhymes and Beer, a music and art series that features artists, musicians, and local businesses joining together for a charitable cause. A silent art auction and raffle benefits Any Given Child Sarasota, an organization that is changing young lives through the arts in Sarasota School. Art Rhymes and Beer is sponsored by Art and Frame of Sarasota, Kimmel Lumber, and Bobcat Disposal. For more information, go to facebook.com/artrhymesandbeer or email artrhymesandbeer@gmail.com.
Good Tuesday afternoon. This is the Brian Gould Show Sports Edition on 444 Radio. Some pretty good football games over the weekend, and then some not so good ones. I lost that Jets-Bills game. I had the Bills winning, and they most definitely didn't. Of course, that was the Thursday night game. All the Thursday night, several Thursday night games, I think the next 9 now, you can watch for free on Twitter. I've got
on Thursday night, right?
Yeah, I've got the direct link and feed on my website, briangouldshow.com, for those of you that...
Did you guys do that?
I watched it.
I watched it on Twitter.
They skipped week 4 or week 5. The Dolphins-Cincy game isn't on Twitter.
It's not going to be there.
Yeah, it's weird.
Brian, who'd you have to win last week's game?
Which one?
Thursday.
I took the Bills.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I don't recall what Evan. Who'd you take?
The
Bills,
the
Jets.
Bills.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I took the Jets.
Okay, so it was you and I in the jet train.
That's right.
Yeah. Bengals
now,
lose.
I'm sorry. Now, when you did the Twitter, what'd you think about it?
I liked it.
Yeah. Did you get kicked off at all?
Twice.
Okay. Yeah, I got
in.
kicked off about once a quarter.
Yeah.
It lagged sometimes.
Yeah, it was a little delayed.
It was the first time,
but I think they'll, the
picture was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Did you expect worse or better?
I don't know what I was expecting.
Considering it was,
I'm not really sure. I don't really know Twitter too well.
Considering it was streaming through a site like that, I thought, even though it had its little hiccups here and there, that's to be expected, and it'll only get better.
And I'll tell you what, though, it's the first time that I ever paid attention to a game where you could actually hear everything that people were saying.
Yes.
Did you notice that too?
Yes.
So they picked it up, like you could hear what they were saying, audibles.
It was like you were there.
The audio from the game?
Yes.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was
actually,
like you were literally really watching it right there. You could hear everything.
That was pretty cool. That part was cool. The picture, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a couple of times I'm like, I got kicked off at the exact wrong time. I'm like, no. So that was aggravating.
Or it was trying to catch up.
But
like you heard the commentary, and then the screen froze for a half second or two, and then it came back.
But I'm sure by the end of the season, that's all going to be fine.
Yeah.
By next year, it's going to be.
I'd say the experiment was a success.
I'll watch it. I'm going to watch it again this Thursday on Twitter.
Yeah.
They go, that works because I'm going to do it again.
Right. There you go. Exactly.
I got, what was it, Jay, what was the internet thing we got last week that I tried for a week and I didn't
Sling.
like? I got Sling TV, got rid of it in a week.
I was going to try that.
Like,
you didn't like it?
Did not like it. Got kicked off everywhere.
Yeah, it's not ready yet.
Yeah, it's not.
It's the concept's cool. It's just it doesn't have it'll like get all digitally
right. And you get ESPN, but you don't get the SEC channels, and it's. I was like, all right, whatever.
So,
I was much more impressed with the Twitter. I will watch that again this week. That's how I'm going to watch my Thursday night game.
Yeah, I went right to my website, clicked on the feed, and boom, was right there watching it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I give them. I told Jack. I think I gave them a solid C plus, only because we got cut off. If I didn't get cut off the way it would have been a B plus.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah,
definitely. The Bengals and Steelers rivalry game there, that was a horrible game to play in. Steelers win that one 24-16. Titans come from behind and defeat the Lions 16-15. Ravens beat the Browns 25-20. Cowgirls win over the Redskins 27-23. Actually,
does that hurt?
I won money on that game. I knew that was going to happen.
Was that a tough one to watch?
It was tough.
Saints
watching Alfred Morris come back in and do his patented baseball, and then wave at us. That was
Morris comes
bothered
in.
me.
At least Des Bryant caught a couple balls this time around.
There you go.
Yeah, finally. The Saints lose to the Giants 16-13, and once again the Saints get beat on a last-minute play. Unfortunate for them.
You know, in the last 3 times New Orleans has played, last year Eli hung 6 touchdowns on New Orleans. The last 3 games that they've gotten together, the score has gone over 100 points. That was my dead lead pipe lock of the week at 52.5 points. I bet that game like I was in the huddle holding the clipboard. The money that I hit with my 9-1 weekend, self-plug, went right to that New Orleans, really punched me in the face.
So that was a push for the most part?
No, I mean I don't.
Made a couple, but nothing.
Yeah, I don't push aggressive when I'm up high.
Right.
I do more money management, so it would take me 3 weeks of losing to give. But the point is that I lost.
Yeah,
a
big.
I lost that game. There's others I played, but that New Orleans game, man, it was 52.5. I couldn't get to it fast enough. Watching New York play last week and watching New Orleans throw the ball all over the place. How do you not like those two teams and the history of being over 100 points at halftime? At halftime, the score was
7-3.
7-3, and that was the touchdown that New York had scored was a blocked kick that went the other way. That was it. It was brutal to watch.
It's amazing. Just you throw the game outside.
Man,
there was a little bit of rain too, wasn't there?
I didn't see much of other
obstacles. It was rain. Which game was I watching?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's right. The Pittsburgh game was
boring.
Yeah.
Panthers destroy the Niners 46-27. Dolphins lose a heartbreaker to the Patriots 31-24. I watched that game. Man, it came down to the last play.
It turned into. You know what the worst part is? This is the worst part. It turned into a heartbreaker just to make it feel even worse about getting your ass beat so bad to begin with. That's just wrong. I feel bad for you guys.
They were. Garoppolo hangs 3 touchdowns on them in the first quarter. The following take has nothing to do with Jay making him feel bad. Miami gets 21 points, gives to Garoppolo in the first quarter.
First half, yeah.
And he comes out of that game. I have Blunt on one of my in one of my leagues. He touched the ball all day because they were up 3 scores. And Garoppolo goes out. They just handed to Blunt. He ran for 130 yards. Tannehill came back in. And Tannehill did well last year in Miami against New England. And he went out there.
He's 3-1 in Miami against New England.
So let me ask you, Jay, being an impartial opinion here with Miami.
Absolutely.
Did Tannehill do what he did last year to New England again? Or was it them being down 21 points and him going poor man Blake Bortles and just having a bunch of points after the fact?
I mean, I could see people on paper thinking that, but New England never. Belichick normally doesn't go to prevent, and he didn't. If you watch the game, they were still bringing the pressure. They were playing man. I mean, it wasn't. He started picking the defense apart in the second half.
That's it. With a gun to everybody's head, tell me how many completions and attempts Ryan Tannehill had.
32 for 45, 390 yards.
It was
third quarter. He was 16 for 17.
It was 30 of something. I mean, the guy had a fantastic week. If it got to 43, it did. I saw it at 31 out of 39 or something. He didn't miss. I mean, he was like throwing darts out there. Yeah, they're down 3 touchdowns, but at some point it has to.
It's not
level
garbage.
out, doesn't
it's not garbage time when you're trying to tie the game on the last.
Yeah,
and so that's what we say. It's not luck if you're getting it done and you're putting yourself back in the position.
And it's against the Patriots too.
Yeah, which Belichick is famous for not. He never takes the foot off the gas. I mean, he's not someone that's gonna.
That kid that they drafted from my NC State team, the 3rd round,
the one where they just said, hand the ball off, don't do anything.
That's all. Don't screw up, don't drop the ball. But I was impressed with Ryan. That's my point.
Yeah,
I was impressed with what Ryan
makes me feel good because the amount of Dolphins fans that want to put the blame on him when we were down 21-0 before he's thrown the ball 3 times, it's like
there's only 7.
What else would you like him to do? Did you see the last run play when he's running defensive backs over? God.
Don't try.
He's going to end up going somewhere else. That's what's going to happen. I'm already saying it now. We were going to end up releasing him. He's going to go somewhere else, and he's going to explode and win 3 or 4 Super Bowls. That's what's going to happen. If he played for any other team right now.
I mean, did you really believe that he was going to transition from wide receiver to quarterback I mean, we all remember him playing quarterback or wide receiver.
He was quarterback first,
at
though.
A&M.
He was quarterback first. That's why he switched the other way.
Yeah.
Swinger.
Yeah, maybe he is a swinger, huh?
Texans defeat the Chiefs 19-12. Rams beat the Seahawks in a snoozer 9-3. The Bucks.
I'm telling you, man, I was glad to see that happen.
Bucks get dominated on the road 40-7 against the Cardinals.
Were who we thought they were.
I'll tell you what, Seattle, first time they haven't put up a touchdown in 5.5 years.
How worried are you with that? There was no touchdowns in that game.
Nope.
I mean, and it's good defense against good defense. You know, Wilson is hurt. I can't imagine walking, let alone running in the condition that he was in. Seattle has Miami. That was my point 10 minutes ago until I prismed off into something else. The Miami played pretty good last week against the Seattle team. They were winning that game and then gave it up like a prom date. On the back end of that game.
That's what they do.
And then they come back last week or this week here and lose by a touchdown. What part of that is Seattle, Brian, being not the Seattle that you remember watching? It's not the Legion of Boom.
They started last season really slow too.
They have issues with Rawls. They have issues with Michael. Wilson's hurt. You know
what I see happening in Seattle is the same thing that happened in
Are you worried?
In San Francisco is the quick flash, and they look solid. They've been to 2 Super Bowls, and for some reason the seam's unraveling from behind them. They don't see it coming in front. It's coming from behind. And weird analogy, but you just don't see it coming, and all of a sudden this hurts you, that hurts you, this injury pops up, this player is not playing the same way that we thought that they were going to play like they did in the past. And then it starts becoming a pointing fingers in the locker room fest. Well, if you were doing that, if you could throw the ball to me, well, if you could catch the ball, well, if you weren't injured, well, if maybe you'd spend more time on the practice field. I see unraveling happening.
Is it fair to point the finger at Wilson, who was a top 3 fantasy quarterback last year from week 8 until the end of the year?
We were having the same conversation 4 seasons ago about Kaepernick. And
Wilson's the truth, and all of a sudden it looks like he doesn't know where the end zone is in a football field.
And next, head coaches are, marquee names are getting blamed and let go because players aren't getting along with them. Oh, it's us or him. Well, guess what? The coach got you there, and he coached you to that Super Bowl.
Some teams deserve that, I think. I don't know that Seattle deserves that yet. They've proven that they get the benefit of the doubt. They get a chance to correct
let's not
themselves.
go crazy, too.
It's week 2.
Seattle's only had, they're only 1-1, okay? It's early. Yes, is it the Rams? Is it a horrible way to lose? You lose your first time. This is also put in perspective. 5.5 years since it's not had a touchdown. Okay,
last year, the Rams beat Seattle twice.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, the Rams have Seattle's number.
So they kind of have their number.
3 out of 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going into that game.
And you go for the rest of the year undefeated. This makes no difference whatsoever.
Yeah. A little smoke there. I don't think it's as much fire. That's
it's a bad game.
The barn's not burning
as much as I hate that son of a bitch, Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
It's just a bad game.
Chargers beat the Jaguars 38-14. Falcons over the Raiders 35-28. Broncos defeat the Colts 34-20, and Packers lose to the Vikings 17-14. Who's the tough kid on the block there in the NFC North? Vikings or Packers?
I think it's still the Packers. I mean, the Vikings, they're 2-0. You can't argue with that.
Bradford looked like a different quarterback. That's all I'm going to say.
I thought he had an Oklahoma jersey on. He was throwing like he was.
He did look good.
He was taking shots too, and he bounced right back up. I was like, "Oh, he's dead."
Him and his weird wide-eyed craziness.
You mean his narrow eyes?
Looks
like a panda bear. It's weird.
Just crazy guy.
I think that Aaron Rodgers is, the beginning of last year, I thought he was arguably, right behind Peyton, the best quarterback that I've seen with my eyes. And then not Tom Brady. I think he's a better quarterback through the year and can see things and just is a better quarterback than Tom.
I agree with you.
I don't think that Aaron is – I think he's in a bad place. It was more than just losing Jordy Nelson last year, because when you lose a guy like Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb can't be Randall Cobb, and that makes Rodgers have a rough year, and he presses and he pushes and he doesn't have the stats. Aaron Rodgers is a fantasy football god. And he's a statistical god.
They let go of James Jones, too. Like, what do you think?
They did. He's in San Diego. he's not the same guy. It's more than just, okay, we have Jordy back. Where are you? Last week was against Jacksonville was nothing to really brag and write home about.
And I'm gonna touch on that in my suicide drills here in a second.
So now you've got Rodgers, and he's a mess, man.
You've got, of these teams, the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills, the Cleveland Browns, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, Washington Redskins, and the New Orleans Saints, along with the Chicago Bears. Teams that start out 0-2, only 12% make the playoffs.
Yep, 1 out of 8.
Of those teams, who makes the playoffs?
You can make a case against all of those teams.
There's only 2 I can make a case for, though, honestly, and it would be the Colts, just because of that division.
I like Jacksonville. I got a weird hunch that Jacksonville could pull that up.
I think what you saw in week 2 is a little closer to what Jacksonville actually is.
It's concerning. I was a Jacksonville advocate. I was on board.
I wasn't. I just want to go on record saying that.
I'm still a believer in him.
I'd like to think that the end of the year I can still say, hey, man, I was right along with all these other people. But, man, they do not look like the squad that I thought they were going to be.
Coaching staff's not strong enough there.
Yeah, maybe. Dante Fowler, Dexter Fowler from Florida, your Florida Gator, had a good game.
I mean, of all those teams, I think Saints are going to.
You know what? I'm looking at that too because they're 0-2 and the rest of the division's 1-1, so they're only one game out.
And you're still telling the great quarterback. They've lost by a second that close both games.
And that's why, isn't it? It's the offense.
It is,
and it's Drew Brees.
Hey, Miami's lost by this much both games.
I was going to say the other one. I was thinking
stab you.
I could put Dolphins up there. Mm-hmm. Definitely need a couple more games to see. Because they could just now
Well,
implode.
we got the cure for all ills.
But it is the
week.
Dolphins. They could just implode at this point. We don't know.
That Brian said the spread's up to 10.
They could absolutely just explode. We know that. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I think the Saints, no matter what, are going to end up doing okay. You look at the Bills. They have no chance at all. But we said that going in.
Dumpster fire.
I'm glad where they are. They deserve to be where they are. And I hope they think about how bad they suck every day of the week. And then you've got the Jags. They looked sexy. They look like they've got way more energy, and I think they're more excited. I can see them pulling out an okay year. I'll give them. I'll put them on the fence. How about that? We'll put them on the fence with me.
I like them better than the Colts.
See, Colts. I think Luck is just. Sometimes I feel like you look at Luck, and he feels overwhelmed. I can see it. I can see it sometimes, where he's like, as long as he's not, if he doesn't start off ahead and continue ahead, he just can't deal with not having an easy day.
He was a little dinged up coming into this weekend, and on top of all that, he had to see Denver, who lost Ware for 5 weeks. Right. Tough break there. A lot of injuries over the league this weekend. The Luck, he was roughed up. Man, he has to play Denver. If he can feel a little better, that offense is awesome. He has a lot of weapons. He's a poor man's Breeze.
I got no confidence in that guy at all.
No, me neither. I don't. I don't either. I think for some reason this season is just going to be a total bust for him. Something's just nuts.
I think it finally settles in where he belongs.
Yes.
At Publix bagging groceries.
Wow, so he's going to go Rick Meyer.
I wouldn't go that far, but I think
in the deli cutting meat.
I think they're lucky to even get 7 wins this season. I don't see them doing very well. It's just something doesn't seem right. Something doesn't feel right with Indy and Luck. Luck just doesn't seem like he's got it.
I have been saying it since he got drafted. He had already peaked. Yeah, he was the most complete quarterback ready or NFL ready quarterback, but that's it. I'm telling you, you guys have seen the height. I don't care. I know. I see the look I'm getting from Christian.
Do the Bears come out and get crazy now?
No,
I don't think so.
And there you go. There's another situation there too, where the quarterback goes down. It's kind of interesting how we were the Ryan Fitzpatrick watch show. Like, pay me or I'll go somewhere else. Someone else offer me money, and everyone's like, "Yeah, you're not worth it." How many teams are kicking themselves now that we didn't scoop them up? Look at how many quarterback jobs. Look at how long
Which is good for him, because if he puts the season on like he did last year, then when he doesn't have a contract again next year,
he can parlay that into something.
Yeah. This time there'll be some takers. Absolutely. Even a year older, yeah.
Of course, Jay Cutler goes down and out last night. He takes himself out of the game.
He's done.
Garoppolo
He's a prima donna.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler loves him some Jay Cutler. And all he can do, he does, he's a GQ guy.
They hate him.
You know why? Think about that guy quits on the team and sits on the bench in a game that if they win, they go to the playoffs. and he bitches up and sits down, and this team is walking by him, giving him the business because he won't get back in the effing game. He's not Ronnie Lott, but he's like, look, man, I'm a professional. This is just a football game. I got a career to think about. I'm going to make a movie. He's in Entourage episodes,
Right.
He's like, or The League. He did The League there with the baby.
the breast milk.
Yeah, the breast milk. But that's more of a concern to him. He looks forward to being big man on campus and being on GQ billboards in New York than he does 2 minutes to go against Green Bay to win a playoff game. And that's what his team despises and resents is his efforts.
Right. He loves his alternate ego where he gets to go play on the red carpet and bang hot chicks and do what he wants.
And fair enough.
That's not the guy. Yeah, I love that too, but you don't want him playing for you.
No, I don't.
No, definitely not. Even if they were to cut him right now, they like to refer to it as dead money being paid there to a guy that's not on your team. Even if they drop him,
it's not dead money though. If it makes your team better,
you can't see the writing on the wall in Chicago. They've gotten rid of Urlacher. Didn't come back.
His money,
Forte's gone.
Well, there's enough money there to grab somebody somewhere, but who's
Tebow
available?
needs a job.
What would you do, Brian? Would you keep Alshon and just try to, like we talked about Cleveland last week, hey, we're gonna just put up the flag and pretend like you care for the rest of the year, or are you just gonna try to play every week and win a game? Chicago without Cutler got hurt last night. Who knows how long he's gonna be out?
Well, Brian Hoyer is there.
Hoyer's there, and he played okay.
But he's okay, and I think Cutler's better than Hoyer.
I agree with you.
You have to stick out with Cutler for the rest of the season, as much as you hate him, as much as your team hates him, as much as the whole city hates him.
But
look at those names.
Team?
I mean, he's still an okay quarterback.
Look at those names you just listed: Forte, Urlacher. Hell, they cut their all-time leading scorer, Robbie Gould. Let a kicker go.
But they wish they had him last night.
Yeah. See, what is the method and the thought process to letting those guys
How
go?
can we not win a game this season?
That's my question to you. With the gun to your head, do they make the playoffs?
No, definitely not.
So you being a Bears fan, and you know that you're not going to make the team, man, you're going to want to keep around money like Jeffries and get another quarterback? I mean, what's your play there?
Well,
because you have a lot of, you have Kevin White who's young.
The
Zach
way
Miller's undervalued.
Cutler's contract is structured, I believe he's got 5 seasons left. It's something ridiculous.
Are you kidding me?
That's bad.
He's got a long time, and it's like $63 million over the next 5 years. Something ridiculous like that, I believe. And again, if you cut him, you still free up some cash to go get somebody somewhere. But who's the somebody, and where's the somewhere that you find him?
The defense didn't look horrible last night.
But you know what, though? Here's my question: if you're the Bears and you're 0-2 already, and you know it's not going to get any better, who does it matter who you get? Get rid of him and bring somebody else in to at least show the team that we're with you. This guy sucks.
I agree.
We're going a different route. And even if we're going to take it on the teeth, we're taking it together as a team.
I agree with that philosophy, but with the way that the quarterback water is so thin and not deep at all right now, there's nobody out there. You know whose door you're knocking on now to say, hey, come play some football for us, is a Johnny Manziel. And I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the next best talented quarterback that's out there that's free.
I really thought Tim was going to get a phone call. All jokes aside.
Tebow?
Yeah. I thought that Tebow would have entertained a phone call over the weekend, with the injuries in addition to the week one.
He might not
concerns.
be able to because of the structure of the
with the Mets
with
deal.
the Mets. That's probably not even an option for him. Unless he reneges on that, and then he doesn't, then you got all those issues.
Because what does he really want to do? With a gun to his head. Hey Tim, do you want to play football or do you want to play baseball?
Well, that's not the same question. What they're asking: do you want to play NFL football or do you want to play minor league baseball?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, if you do
better said,
you want pro baseball or pro,
right?
That's
what
a totally
I'm
different
saying.
situation.
But if you say,
I understand what you're saying.
You call me up and say, hey, Brian, pro football or minor league baseball. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to stick with minor league baseball, and the reason being is because you're done with me after this season. And then I'm right back to the Tebow hunt once again.
He remembers the lights. He remembers his Heisman. He remembers.
It's not worth.
He also
it's not
remembers,
worth 14 games of my life when I've got something long term set up.
You
right
know what
now,
though? But it's also
investment-wise.
Tim Tebow, where he's like he doesn't think he doesn't think it's 14 games of his life. He thinks, I only need 6 or 7 of these games to be the way I need it to be.
But you know
and then
what?
I'm right back in the mix.
He's had how many seasons to be that way, and it never worked for him.
I
So
know,
why keep? It's the definition of insanity.
Right.
It's not going to work. He's not a quarterback.
Because like your argument from weeks ago on your show is because people like to go out on their own.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
That's right. And not to mention, he's not going to go out on his own because he's never going to feel like he goes on his own because he's going to sit down and pray about it, and whatever God says he's supposed to do, he's going to do 1,000%, and now there's no talking about it.
He still thinks that he's that Heisman
My son,
winner. He still
you
thinks
are
he's-
going to go and play, and you're going to do it for me because
for
I
12
am
games. Nah.
because I am a Bears fan. Go do this.
He already said in that interview that he has given up on football, that he's not looking back, that he's moved on.
And you know, if that's
Until
true,
ring, ring,
Uh-huh.
ring, ring.
I don't know. I believe him. I think he knows he's not that
I
good.
believe him too until that phone call comes.
Oh, really? So you think if the Colts call him right now and say, "Hey, look, we need a quarterback," he doesn't say, "What? Colts need a quarterback?"
A quarterback loves to be. I mean, that's the captain of the team.
Yeah.
He won Heisman's on one of the best teams that you're going to put your eyes on
Right.
since I shaved.
Right.
You know, so he remembers all of that. That's all that he remembers is the grandeur. He remembers the band. He remembers
And it's
people
not that
screaming.
far away. It's not that long
It's
ago.
so
yet.
close that he
It's
can remember it. He can
it's
taste
not
it.
that long ago.
I hear what you guys are saying, but listen to
But
logic.
screw you.
It's just
Oh, no,
not.
I agree
not
with it.
Scenario.
And you know what? And we're talking out of our ass because we don't know
Mm-hmm.
what the arrangement is with the Mets.
Yeah.
And if
It's got to be good if they're selling the jerseys already. And,
I agree.
mean,
I would-
think they
I would
gave him the
think
old.
as a Met, I would say, look, you're going to have to make sure you sign this because I can't do all this and have you 2 weeks later get
Dip
a phone
out.
call or
Yeah.
every time that somebody wants you to play football.
I would be
No-
99% certain that
New
that's
England's
the case.
starting
I would agree with you.
that kid from NC State, Brissett.
Yep.
Tebow can hand the ball off pretty well, probably. Right?
Tebow. I mean, come on, for 2 weeks.
And drop his shoulder and kill you?
For 2 weeks, get to stick Tebow in a New
Nah,
England
not
jersey.
happening.
Holy cow!
Either hand, even if you said, look, you got
Holy
two plays
cow.
here. You either hand the ball off or you drop your shoulder and go through the wall.
Nah.
And you know he's like, okay.
New England doesn't need the headache. They're going to have Brissett play. They've got Edelman on backup and Garoppolo sitting third string.
You say that until they start losing, and then like
They have
now,
no
well,
other
guess what?
quarterback on
They've
the
got
roster.
2 games left without Brady, and if they lose the next 2, guess what they do the remaining 12 with Brady? They win. So I think they can
Brady
weather the
comes back.
storm for
He's
2
soft.
games.
He's not prepared.
Yeah.
He gets thumped. Everybody's
Just
going to line up
soft.
to kill.
What do you think that
People
guy's
are
doing?
gonna-
Sitting around doing nothing during the offseason?
Yeah,
Are you freaking kidding
I saw
me?
him playing catch with his wife, and she telling everybody he's keeping her. I'm keeping him in. Don't worry, guys. I'm keeping him in shape.
Wasn't
Yeah,
Brady?
whatever.
Wasn't Brady at the
He was
Michigan
at the
game?
Michigan game. Yeah, practicing with the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can't practice anywhere else.
So
He's a
think-
cheater.
He and
He's
Wes
not
Welker
sitting
spent
around.
a quiet
That's for
afternoon
darn
together,
sure.
sipping coffee
No
and throwing
kidding.
footballs.
All right, guys. Well, what we'll do is we'll close things out with suicide drills. Everyone's attention. It's yes or no, and no explanation afterwards. It's gunfire suicide drills. Here we
Yes,
go.
I understand.
Aaron Rodgers is past his prime.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Who should be the starting quarterback for the 49ers Week 3?
That's not a yes or no.
Yes.
Answer the question. Sorry.
Gabbert.
Yeah, Gabbert. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. Johnny Manziel plays on an NFL team again.
No.
Yes.
Teddy Bridgewater will not be wearing a Vikings jersey next season.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, yes.
He will wear a jersey next year.
A Vikings jersey.
Correct?
Okay. Minnesota is the best team in the NFC North.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Dak Prescott will be the Dallas starter next season.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I could say yeah.
You know, I would like to say yeah. I would like to say yeah. And, you know,
No
realistically-
explanation. Next question.
Damn it.
Yes or no?
No.
No. Louisville is the best team in college football.
No.
No.
The Big 12 will have a representative for the playoff picture,
No.
whether
No.
it be Baylor or a 2-loss Oklahoma team.
No.
Okay.
Can we say no again? No.
In college or pros, if the QB throws an interception, he should not attempt to tackle the person that intercepted the ball.
No.
No.
You're a football player, goddammit.
Yeah.
Yeah, tackling.
Well, quarterback got injured doing it. That's why.
One.
Great.
Who cares?
In-
That's his job.
That's what happens.
In the World Cup of Hockey tonight, Team USA scores 2 goals against Canada, win or lose.
Yes.
Sure. Yes.
2 goals?
Yes.
They're going to be pumped for that game.
And 2 goals is a
They
big
just
number.
lost their last game.
Yeah, they lost 3-0, and Canada won 6-0 over a Czech Republic team.
I don't think they score 2.
There you go. Suicide drills every Tuesday.
Bang.
Bang, bang, bang.
I'm Dak Prescott's representative, so if you have any questions, feel free to forward that to me.
Hey, do me a favor next week, though, when we do this on Tuesday, and if they're yes and no questions, make sure it's a yes or no answer.
Hey, and can you make sure you don't explain after he tells you to not
Shut up.
explain?
Yeah. On behalf
I'll
of
try my
Murdoch,
part.
Jay, and Evan, this is the Brian Gould Show on 444 Radio. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.